Hi my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of our city zoo build, Tropical Wings Zoo. So we are back in TW once again, gang, and today this is more of an update episode. What I will do though is above I will link last episode. It's a prairie dog build. Feel free to go check that one out and let me know what you make of it in the comment section. But today, like I've already said, we are going to take a good look at the zoo, and I'm going to talk to you about my plans for the zoo. I'm going to update you on the animal list. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing with the project for the next week as well, because I'm taking a break from putting an actual build episode out. And I basically want to talk to you where I see this project going. We are on the verge of a new DLC being released, and I'm very, very excited about it because of all the props and the pieces that we're going to get in that DLC. This project is obviously the main one on the channel. I want it to continue in the same vein, in the same form. You guys are still enjoying it a year on, but I feel like we're now in a point with this project where we can really plan out where this zoo is going to go and reach its conclusion. So, first and foremost, gang, we're here. Overhead view. I'm just going to leave it like this. I think this is probably the best way to kind of represent what we're going to do in each of the areas. It gives you a good look at all of the spacing and the places that I kind of want to talk about as well. Now, the next part of Tropical Wing Zoo is already kind of being planned out. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, and although I alluded to it in last episode, I will talk about it today. But the first point of business in today's episode is I want to talk about what I'm probably going to do over the next week where Tropical Wings is concerned. There will be no new build episode this week. Instead, I'm giving you this update episode. And the reason for that is the next project I'm going to be doing is a large one. It's going to be the completion of Adventure Africa. And it's going to probably take place over the next 2 or 3 episodes, I would imagine. But what I have noticed since I've been walking around Tropical Wings, and I tend to log in and I like to take a look at old exhibits to make sure they're matching up with the newer stuff that I'm building. I did that a while back, and it led to me updating the gorilla yard, the mandrill yard, and the chimpanzee yard, you will remember. And again, I've been doing that, and I do feel like there's some areas in the zoo that could do with a little bit of a spruce up, a bit of an update, bring them up to the kind of standards that I'm building now. So over the next week, I'm going to be basically going over the entire zoo and what we've built so far and updating it. When I say update, I don't mean I'm going to change, an awful lot. I'm not going to knock buildings down and things like that, but we might add some foliage somewhere. We might empty a building out and redo it. Like, to be honest with you, I'm not happy with the internal look of the Safari Lodge restaurant. I'm not a fan. I think a lot of it has to do with the shape of that building. I've already started work on the indoor fennec fox habitat because I'm not really happy with the guest side of that. I'm actually not happy with the indoor area of the prairie dogs either. That box that I put inside there, I kind of stole that from the fennec fox habitat, and I, again, don't really like it. So there's lots of little bits and bobs that I want to go in and change and just bring up to date, and just kind of, I do this because I like the zoo to feel consistent. I don't want you to notice that the entrance was built a year ago, because obviously in the space of a year you can learn so much stuff where this game's concerned. What I will say is that the one area I can't update is the entrance. I can't actually update that plaza. I can't update the flamingo flavors habitat. I can't shop. I can't update half of the flamingo habitat, and I can't update some of that plaza area that's off the back. The reason for this, I actually don't know, but whenever I try to do anything now, it freezes the game and bombs me out. So it's a bit of a problem. But essentially, gang, that's what I'm going to do over the next week. The next point of business in today's episode is to update you with the animal list. Now, I'll put it on the screen, gang, and then I'll talk about it in a moment, but if you are a member of the Discord, you will have already seen this, and what I will do is implore you, if you are really a big part of this community, in the comment section, if you love getting involved, go and become a member of the Discord. You'll find the link to that in the description box below. It's a really fun place. I've just done a big tidy up over there as well, made it a lot easier to navigate, so feel free to go and get involved involved. If not, I will obviously carry on updating you on YouTube. So on the animal list, gang, obviously we've got a new DLC coming out. People were straight away asking me, what animals do you think you'll be adding to Tropical Wing Zoo? So what I've done is I've added the axolotl, the Amur leopard, and the siamang. I think they are 3 perfect additions to this project. There is a chance, should we extend the Adventure Africa area at a later date, that I will add the oryx as well, because there is scope for this project to go well beyond its completion. As you can, I'm going to take the animal list off the screen now, just so I can explain this. But as you can see, we've kind of got this here, and we've got this area here. But just down here, there is actually more zoo area that I kind of put in place that we can build in. So this area here. So there is scope for this to go well beyond when we think it's complete. You know, we could always, you know, jump back in and continue building in this project. I know that Rudy does that with one of his projects, where he basically does it in seasons and jumps in, he deletes stuff, updates it, puts new animals in, moves things around. And I actually find that quite an exciting thing, where a project is never truly finished. And so when this is finished, in inverted commas, we may still come in and do stuff like that. But for now, those are the 3 animals that I've added. I'll just put that animal list back on the screen. You will see, obviously, there are animals that have been, you know, faded out that we've been building recently. And the other thing I want to bring to your attention is I decided that I was going to add the timber wolf and take the dhole away. When I was looking at animals, you know, in zoos and whatnot, the dhole is only in 3 like US zoos, and we don't actually have it in the UK. And because this is based in the UK, I kind of went with the wolf because they're quite a popular thing. Now that said, people then started saying, yes, but you've got the proboscis monkey, and they're not in many zoos outside of Asia. But I think with that one, we've got a little bit of leeway, and we can kind of fit it into the lore that we got them, you know, through a special kind of donation or whatnot. As much as it's realistic, gang, there has to be some stuff where we say to ourselves, let's just kind of do this. You know, at the end of the day, I added the Timberwolf because I wanted something more to add to a potential kind of North American area, because we've got a lot of Asian animals, but we didn't really have much for that, so that's why I kind of subbed it out. So away from the animal list, now let's talk about kind of planning and what's going to be happening over the next few episodes. So I've already mentioned that this area down here is the area that we're going to be completing basically next. This is, of course, the Adventure Africa area, and I've been saying for a while that we're going to be doing the Safari Zone. Mentioned already, it's probably going to take place over the next 2, 3, 4 episodes. I genuinely don't know how long it's going to take, and I would imagine that the first of those episodes will be the latter part of next week. I am starting a new project on the channel, and I'm going to have to find a nice kind of rotation between the two and the building, and making sure that we kind of get them both out on the channel as and when I've kind of said that I would to you guys. Past the Adventure Africa area, there are some other things that we know that we're going to do. We know that the elephants are going to go down here in a rather big kind of elephant house. I want to go quite grand with that because it's going to be a bit like the sea lions, one of the big things that you come to Tropical Wing Zoo for. We know that we're going to be putting the water buffalo that we got in the wetlands pack in here, and we know that there's going to be a tapir as well as you know, other things. Like I would imagine the orangutan, the siamang, the proboscis monkey. They're all going to go in a similar area. I did mention a while back that I wanted to do like a house in the middle and then have external habitats coming off that house so that they have parts inside that indoor area that they all enter. And I wanted it to kind of be over here so it wasn't too close to this big building, but we would have another kind of big kind of building for the Asian area. If you think about it, this whole section here is kind of dedicated to Asia, and if we were to add another piece here with the elephants and then the potential, you know, Bengal tigers as well, our Asian area could end up taking up a big chunk of zoo over here. And it's something that I'm not against, because as much as we weren't theming the Asian area the same way we were the African area, I think it would be nice to kind of keep all those guys together. With that said, it started to put the thoughts in motion, and the other thing that started to put the thoughts in motion is the new DLC. there's lots and lots of backstage stuff that they're going to be adding to that, and I think with that, you know, coming to the game, and with them making the concerted effort to put these things in the game, I really needed to start nailing down where I thought that the backstage lots were going to go. And I mean, not so much just the smaller backstage lots that service the animals like we've got here, for instance, like we've got here, and like we've got here. They are not the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the main service kind of backstage areas like this one here. So we are probably going to need a few more of those. I've spoken in length about this section up here, you know, being where all of our big services are, where the big animal hospital is, where some of the big units are, where a lot of the vehicles are kept, and so on and so on. But I do think we're probably going to need another one around here somewhere. And what I was actually thinking was that we should carry this road on into the zoo. It would be like a service road then, essentially. But not so much carry it on, but, you know, there would be an access point here, around about here. We would have all of this services here, and then I'd like to add another one here so that it's not too far away from this road, but it includes stuff like compost heaps and things like that, because I think this is going to be a really important thing for the zoo to have. Obviously, we've got kind of, you know, some small like orchards and some grow out areas for the parks, planting and whatnot. This is kind of like the park services here. And I thought we could work into the law that the zoo and the park have a partnership and they kind of help each other out. And so it would almost be an extension of this inside the zoo. That's kind of what I'm thinking, kind of in that area. We may obviously need a small kind of like a point like this over here as well. I didn't really want to have it on the road because we've already got quite a big point there on the road, but I did think about having one kind of back here, potentially behind where the rhino house is going to be. I think it might be the perfect spot for it. There's then lots more animals on the animal list that we need to think about. We've got the reptile house that we know is going to go in around about this area, and that's actually going to tick a lot of those animals off the list. After we finish Adventure Africa, that's where I'm thinking of going next, just because it gets rid of a lot of animals on the list, and I think if I can get all of those reptiles, amphibians and whatnot off the list, it will really help me take a look at what's left and work on them a lot better. Sometimes when I look at the animal list and I look at what I've got left to do, it can be very, very intimidating because there's lots on there, but in theory there's not that many, because there's lots of those animals that are going to go in the same building or they're going to have shared stuff. So I need to start kind of like working my way through. So I think after the Adventure Africa area, it's probably going to be the reptile house that's going to go in here. As a result of putting the prairie dogs in here, and with the sea lion being a bit more of a North American animal, I feel like we could do a small kind of North American area around this spot. We've got the beaver on the list, we've got the timber wolf on the list. I think both of them would be welcome additions to that area as well. We're obviously going to be putting a fish and chips restaurant in there. Really, that theming is just to go with the sea lions, but I think it'll work even with what we're planning to put, in there alongside it. I think they are going to be some really, really good additions to that spot. Then, I think where we go after that is kind of, pretty obvious. It's going to be a big kind of South American area. And I actually think South America from North America would work quite nicely. We have also got Australian animals to think about as well, and I was thinking about doing some Australian stuff here. As I've already said, we're probably going to take up a big chunk of this area with Asia. We're probably going to take up a fair chunk over here with North America. We're then going to have South America probably set around about here. If we had the pygmy hippo as the last kind of, tropical African animal around about here, it'd be a nice transition into South America. And then we would have Australia here. We've obviously got all our surfaces back there. This is where Africa finishes, and that will bring the zoo to a finish. I actually think this is going to be the perfect way to kind of do it. When I first started building this project, I didn't want to go down the avenue of having, you know, certain areas for certain things, but there are still going to be some species that are going to be a bit random and, you know, plopped in places where you might not expect them. I don't intend to put the peacock in with Asia. I don't really intend to put the red panda in with Asia, but even the small clawed otter. I'd like them to be animals that are kind of scattered around the zoo randomly. We've also got the penguin species to think about. We've got the polar bear to think about. They've got to be able to be fit in here somewhere as well, and I think they might have to be a bit sporadic and a bit random as well, kind of on the edges of these said areas, and they might all be nice animals to use as transitions into the next area. I've really started to think about this project in more detail while I was away on holiday. I took a few screenshots, and I kind of was drawing over them on Photoshop to kind of work out where things are going to go, and I feel like this is kind of the perfect game plan for us to go down. I know this is just, you know, not really too much going on the screen. I've just kind of loosely been putting things here, there and everywhere, but I think this is the direction that Tropical Wings is going to go in. The one more thing that I want to bring up in today's video before we leave is that of the animal list. I know I've already updated you on the animal list, but lots of people keep asking me to add stuff, or you know, what about this animal, why wasn't this added, and so on and so on. What I want to say to you guys is all of the really rare stuff, like the dhole, like the platypus, you know, there's loads of other species that I could have been added to this project that haven't been. They are going to be saved for the new project, Do It Better. Highland Zoo is going to be rebuilt in that series, and I don't intend to have the animal list be so realistic, even though the zoo is going to be made realistic. I'm working realism into it to make the zoo look real and functional, but the animal list is going to be really like random, and I'm happy to have any suggestions for that series on the next episode of animals you would like to see that we could use to finish it. All of the animals that are currently in the project are going to stay in the project, but any new ones that we're going to use to finish the project off, you guys can, you know, happily tell me which ones you'd like to see, and I'd be more than happy to add them. The reptile house is going to have a big overwork because you know, there's lots of exhibit animals that have been added and whatnot. This is a completely different series I'm talking about now, but it comes back to the animal list for this series. It was chosen by other people for this series, and I don't want to mess with it too much. So if you do have any suggestions for animals that you know are not going in here, feel free to suggest them for the Do It Better series. And so there you have it, my friends. We are done and dusted for another episode of Tropical Wings Zoo. It's just an update episode. I know this isn't for everyone, but I do appreciate those that take the time to watch it, take the information in, and kind of, feed into my way of thinking the project needs to work. But I'm done and dusted, my friends. If you are new around here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. But until next time, stay safe, stay humble, and I will see you real soon.